I was sitting in my mother's basement playing video games on Twitch TV. It's a business where someone can broadcast their favorite game to anyone that wants to watch all over the world. And the games that I primarily play are Clash of Clans. And this night, it was just a regular broadcast night, and I was sitting downstairs at about 1 a.m, and all of a sudden I heard someone run around upstairs, which is abnormal because I'm usually up that late by myself.
Yeah.
And it was the sound of my mom running down the stairs, and she banged on the door, and she had said, "Josh, the cops are here. Do you know what's going on?" And in my head, I'm like,
hide the pot.
In my head, I knew exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
Because it's this phenomenon where you see someone in my situation gets swatted by the police. The police gets called on them, except I never thought that I would find myself in that situation.
Right.
Because I'm still relatively new. I haven't even been doing it a year yet. And I just had gotten back from deployment with the Air Force. I hadn't even, updated my address or anything, so no one knows in the world where I am.
Right.
And now I have the police at my door. And so I walk upstairs with my mom, and I told her, no, I have no idea. And we get to the front door, and it's my stepdad, my mom, and myself when we're trying to get the door unlocked. And there's about 7 police officers pointing their weapons at us through the window. Oh. And we're just trying to get the door unlocked before they kick it down. And we managed to get the door unlocked. And then as soon as they come in, we're on the ground. I'm very familiar with this, having a little bit of military experience, and so I'm just I have no questions. I'm right on the floor.
Oh my gosh!
It's like they're armed. There's a few of them that have assault rifles. Oh. A few of them are armed with SWAT gear, and so and my mom's just not even going down to the ground. She's like, "There's children in the house. What is going on?" Because they have no idea.
Right.
My parents have no idea what's happening. Oh. And then at that point, when we're on the ground, then my brother had woken up because he had saw flashing lights in the cul-de-sac where we lived, and he actually walked down the steps, and the police were unaware. And so as soon as he was midway down the steps, they all pointed their guns at him. Because the police had thought that they were walking into a situation where someone had been shot and someone was dead.
Wow.
And they basically thought they were walking into an active shooter situation. So they were basically in the worst case scenario as a police officer, that they had thought that they were going to be firing their weapons at someone else, or, that they might be under fire as well.
Yeah.
So they had to handle that situation in such a way where they had to play like that.
Right.
They didn't know who had
protocol.
a gun or if someone had a gun. So it was a very scary situation for them. We had talked to the police officers after and the next day. All of them felt terrible and awful, that we had to go through that. But at the same time, that if that was the situation that was happening, that is the way that they would have needed to have.
Yeah, they played it by the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it was just a really tricky situation. And so as soon as I realized that my brother had the guns pointed at him, I just immediately I screamed out loud. It was just like, I'm broadcasting on Twitch TV. I'm probably being swatted. It's a prank. Everything is fine. There's nothing going on here. And then I think, from that moment forward, the tone changed.
Wait, you were live when that happened?
I was live, yeah. I
You
didn't
were
have time to broadcast. I was downstairs, and so what these people will do when they try and SWAT someone is they try and get to see that experience, what happened upstairs, live on a broadcast. But I was downstairs, and so when I went upstairs to answer the door, no one got to see anything. But I was technically still live.
Yeah.
And so the police had to search the house to make sure that everything was fine. I showed a few of the officers my room. They're like, "What are you doing now? You're like a porn business?" I'm just playing video games, I assure you.
I'm a grown man who plays video games.
Right,
Come
right.
on.
I was
just
still.
My pants are down.
That's great. Right. This is just a ridiculous thing. And so they ended up leaving. They understood, and then I knew that my broadcast was still alive, and I knew that whoever was responsible for this was still watching. And so that's when I went downstairs. And, there's not a lot of stuff that will, kind of make me emotional. But when you put, my family in danger, it can, in a sense, if the police hadn't conducted themselves so professionally and had been so well trained, if they had accidentally fired one of their weapons, someone could have really gotten hurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's an
for
act
sure.
of terrorism.
Absolutely.
And so I really wanted to make sure that whoever saw that understood what they had done. So I went downstairs to my broadcast, and I basically told them, you put my family in danger.
That video, I watched that video.
I think we both did.
Yeah, and you were very emotional and very honest, and it was like probably the most human, because I've watched Twitch channels for a long time now, and I like to game on the side as well, and I get on sometimes and stream, but like nowhere on the level that you do it. Just for fun, like one person watches. Nobody cares what I'm doing. But watching your video, it was the most human moment I've ever seen on Twitch. And, this is a service that like hundreds of thousands of people are watching, millions of people are tuning into this thing. I noticed that they got the numbers wrong, though. When this happened, like all these news sites were coming out and saying like 64,000 people were watching live. How many people were actually live when that happened?
The Guardian in Europe, they had interviewed me the day after, and I had told them I had 64,000 followers, and they had thought that was viewers. And I specifically said that as well. They just wanted
Which is still amazing.
Right.
Because at the time, I think there was about 600 people watching, and that was like at 1 a.m, and I was playing a game called RuneScape, which wasn't the game that I primarily played. There wasn't as many people watching, so that was, and then a lot of people copied the Guardian story, and so there was just this whole story of all around
mass.
the world.
It just snowballed.
64,000 people watching, and oh my god. I know there will be broadcasts on Twitch that get that many viewers, but I'm not at that level yet.
Now, I don't know if you can answer these questions, but 2 quick questions for you. Number one, is there a way for people to protect themselves from this happening to them? Like say there's parents out there who are listening who, my kid streams on Twitch sometimes, like 5 people are watching. It seems pretty harmless.
Right.
But can that happen to them is the question. Has anyone told you, is there a way you can actually protect yourself from people getting that information? Or
there isn't really something out there to cover all the bases, and right now I'm working with myself, a couple other streamers, and a couple other developers on protecting other people from this. It's going to be something called Twitch Safety, and it's just going to be a website where people can go to kind of, because there's all different kinds of things. One of the biggest things, and which is one of the things how I think I had my information found, was a website called White Pages.
Oh.
And that's what you can type in your name and the state that you're in, and it'll give you like your address. It'll have an arrow pointing at your house.
Wow.
Oh,
There's
my gosh.
There's like 6 or 7 different websites out there that function the same way. And even like a month ago, I found another website where I typed in my name and my state and town, and it had my address with a picture of our house.
Oh my gosh.
And like who was living there. It's like, how are you getting this information? And you actually have to contact the website, and you have to actually submit them a request to get yourself removed from it.
So times 7.
Right.
Wow.
But part of them actually don't do it themselves. They actually pull data from other websites. So you can't actually even request them to take it down unless you've literally taken down everything else on the web.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
tough.
Yeah, it's actually really difficult to get.
I wonder
all
where they do get
done.
Because I'm sorry,
No,
because
okay.
it is so tough for them to for you to protect yourself. Are they even able to catch the people who did this to you? I mean,
this was something where it was a bigger investigation than the St. Cloud Police Department could handle, so they turned it over to the FBI, and it's been a continuing developing thing.
Oh,
on
wow.
It. They might know who it is, or they might have an idea on who it might be, but something like this takes a few months. If not longer, and they're trying just to get as many, maybe this person is responsible for the other things, and so maybe they're just trying to hit him for everything at once.
Right.
There was another person that was swatted, and then they were caught about 4 months later, and coincidentally, that person was actually captured and arrested the day after my swatting.
Wow.
And a lot of people had thought that, hey, they caught the guy. That was
It wasn't him, though.
But yeah, that was the guy that it was something from 4 months ago. But whether or not he was responsible, I don't know. No one told me.
Do you know what kind of penalties they what you can get? What they're charged with? Yeah, like felonies, I would presume. I hope so, anyway.
Yeah, you can get up to like 25 years.
Good. That's awesome.
It's all right. And they need to be made an example of, because this is something that
Wasting the
happens
resource
every week. Every day almost that people are having this kind of stuff.
oh my
happen to
God,
them.
are you serious?
Yes.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, on Twitch.
Oh
yes.
my gosh.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't always happen to someone that where it's a bigger streamer, but to smaller ones, and it's maybe not as severe as a swatting, but people are getting DDoSed, which is like a denial of service attack, which is where they find their IP address and they're basically shutting you off the internet because they're throwing so much traffic and so they're kicking you off. And so there's a lot of these really volatile attacks, and then not difficult to do, which is even scarier.
Get a life. I mean, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
why you gotta
seriously.
mess with people?
But they're out there,
I know.
making life difficult for the rest of us.
Every day.
It's an incredible story. And at the end of the day, Josh, we're just glad to know that, you and your family walked away from this okay and nobody got hurt.
Right.